Number 9, a motion to approve the request from the Goodwill Industries of Rhode Island to place a donation bin on a trial basis at the community center. Do I have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Discussion. Jim?
Yes, Madam President. Approximately 2 months ago, I met with the Director of Donated Goods, Mr. Kevin Fissette. He's in the audience. Mr. Fissette, if you could just come up to the mic in 1 minute. Well, you can come up now, I'm sorry, and I'll have you speak in just 1 minute. So, Mr. Fissette met with me. He represents Goodwill Industries, and he made a request that a clothing bin be located somewhere in town. South County has very few bins of any type in any town in this South County area, to include Goodwill Industries. We spoke about it and decided that because this had come up in the past in another council regarding another type of clothing bin, that it should probably go be discussed by the council here tonight. So, Mr. Fissette, I'll turn it over to you just to explain what this is and what your request is, and where possibly it could be located in the town. We spoke about the community center.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Manny. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to speak to this council tonight. Goodwill, we are in the business of training people with disabilities and other barriers to getting jobs, get them into the workplace. We've been in the state of Rhode Island since 1863 with 5 different names. Most recently, we are incorporated under Goodwill of Southern New England, now based out of North Haven, Connecticut, but we ourselves are based out of Providence. We're not getting the grants from the federal government and the state that we used to get for our training programs. That has hurt us very seriously. As a result of that, we rely more heavily than ever on the revenue raised by donations. 90% of the revenue realized by the sale of donated goods goes directly to our training programs for, in this case, Rhode Islanders with disabilities and other barriers to employment. So I had met with Mr. Manny, and we had spoken about the possibilities, and what I would recommend is if the council would consider the possibility of Goodwill placing a donation bin at the community center on a trial basis. What makes us different than our competitors is that anybody who has one of our bins has my cell phone number. And my guarantee is that if there is ever an issue, we will address it, we will take care of it within a 24-hour window of time maximum. If anybody needs references, I would be very happy to steer you with other municipalities, or we work with several school districts statewide. And I'd also mention to Mr. Manny that we would be willing to pay the town 4 cents for every pound of clothing and textiles placed in the donation bin. Not only is this a great help to us, it's also a great help to the town, because every town needs to submit a report on how much is being kept out of the landfill. One other item that is in our future right now is we are expanding into the southern part of the state. My charge now from my boss is I'm meeting with realtors in the southern part of the state to look at the possibilities of opening a retail store somewhere between Narragansett, Westerly, Charlestown, in this part of the state. So we're trying to get ourselves entrenched. And we will also be opening what we call attended donation centers. Some of our competitors have those now, where people can make their donations at any time they want, and they're given a donation form for tax purposes. So I respectfully request the council consider my request to place a donation bin at the community center or some other place. I recommend that on a trial basis. I would suggest 3 months initially, see how it goes, and it'd be a privilege for us to be part of the town of Narragansett. Thank you for your time.
All right.
Any questions from the council?
Yeah, I just.
Jim, can you mentioned that this came before another council, and obviously it didn't come to fruition. Can you explain why?
I wasn't here when that discussion took place. I don't know if the 2 senior council members were, but the concern with something like this, and Mr. Fissette was right up front with us, was that there be vandalism, be used as to dump unwanted items that are not used by Goodwill Industries, like couches and chairs and stuff like that. So that, I believe, was the was the crux of what the council struggled with last time. What I would say is Mr. Facette came with good references. He seemed very sincere, and that if the council did vote for a trial basis, I'm confident that he's a man of his word, and that if there was an issue, we would get it resolved within hours of us calling. So that concern that I had was alleviated. But I think Councilman Mannix was present at that council, and he could speak further on that.
No, I mean, I'm fine with it. I just had a question about when people leave this stuff, because I had one at my school, and sometimes, you know, I'd leave work and there'd be like a couch at the end of my school entrance. And so it looks like that this Goodwill bin is much smaller.
Yes.
I feel comfortable that there's a, you know, a pilot period just to make sure that we, you know, if we were to agree to this, that there wouldn't be, you know, furniture left over by the community center, that it would be well monitored and people would use it to drop and it would be picked up appropriately.
Absolutely, and I would expect really that if there ever be an issue, that somebody would call, and it would make sense for me to, if it were at the community center, that I make sure that they have my cell number. I think somebody would make sense for them to have it, because they'd be the ones who would be readily available to see what's going on.
Okay, and then I want to defer to my president pro tem because I don't remember why it was a problem.
That was it,
Oh,
what
because
you
of the,
said.
oh,
So,
leaving the stuff.
so the concern, I remember, and I don't remember if it was a vote or not, or if it was on the agenda and then somebody pulled it. It wasn't a lot of conversation, but it was about the overflowing, not just items that didn't belong there. So, and then who would that fall on the town staff? So that a town department would then have to be going to clean that up. And my recollection was that it would have fallen on Public Works. It's too bad, because I saw Mike here. I was going to ask him, you know, so we may want to have a conversation with some Public Works department about it, because that's what I remember about it.
If this falls
the
on
concern was it would fall on them.
I'm sorry. If this were to, this should not fall on Public Works. If it is, we're not doing our job at Goodwill.
Right, but that was the concern, right? That if it wasn't being done, then people were going to clean it up. We're going to send either Public Works or Parks and Rec or somebody.
That's our
So,
responsibility to do that.
So-
24 hours. The guy said 24 hours.
Yeah, so Matt, and we didn't have a location. This seems, was there a location for the last one? I can't remember.
I think it was around here.
I-
Do you remember it? Was it at the Public Works Department?
There was, in having conversation with some of the senior people on the senior management team, there were two locations. One was at Public Works that was being discussed as a location, also at the town hall.
I thought it was Town Hall. Yeah, that was
Okay,
my
so-
recollection.
So
Yeah.
the location's a community center. It's 3 months. We have your word. I'm good. Anybody?
Yeah,
Just a quick question. Why come to a municipality? You see these set up in office parks. Why come to a town rather than, I mean, I see them, if you go down Route 108, you can see your competitors' bins out elsewhere. And as, and Matt had just explained, and Susan as well, you often see them overfilled and with furniture. That's a concern that obviously the former town council had as well, but it's my
Right.
key concern.
And I understand that completely. And the reason I come to the town is because I believe it carries a lot of weight if I have the support. If the actual placement of the bin has the support of the town council and the town manager, I believe that goes a long way, saying that they believe it to be a credible program.
As far as the funding for this, I know that there are some, and they've been, I think it was Planet something.
Planet Aid,
Yes,
probably, yeah.
and they've had some issues with as far as where the money goes. Can you
Right.
explain to us where the money goes?
Yes, 90% of the revenue that we get from the sale of these items, or recycling, the saleable items, of course, are sold retail-wise, and anything that is, we still want stuff in those bins that's ripped, stained, or worn out. As long as it's textile, we ask that it be dry, clean, and odor-free, and that the rest of the donations that are not saleable will be recycled, and again, the money will go right back to fund the training programs. And the way we would figure the weight would be a full bin is 500 pounds, and accordingly, a half bin, 250 pounds. So, I mean, if we could get the bin filled every week, which I believe is realistic, at that point, you'd be looking at close to $1,000 annually for whatever cause that the town were to see fit for the proceeds raised by this.
Yeah, the 4 cents doesn't really, matter too much to me. The programming itself, would that be then focused in South County area, or is this, the money will be used statewide? or-
Statewide.
Okay.
Statewide. We do have clients from all over the state. every end of the state, and every age and every demographic of people comes to us as well. So it is all coming back to help Rhode Islanders get to work, especially Rhode Islanders who have a barrier to getting a job. And those barriers take every shape.
Well, I'm looking for a job right now. I need a new sport coat for the election, so. I'm on board with this. I think we should waive the 4 cents. You know, let them place it there for the bubble. And instead of 3 months, let it go 6 months. What's the big deal?
I'm not sure how the council's feeling, so before we modify his position, I'm hearing to the left, there might not be support for the motion, so let's just talk about it. I mean, where are you guys?
I'm just concerned about, as the last council was, is about just the furniture. And I mean, people aren't going to be at the community center 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it's very easy, especially I'm just imagining when the times change and the students leave and you know, there's going to be an easy place for people to drop things off. I mean, Susan, that's my big concern on this.
Okay, Matt?
Yeah, I'm open, but I just don't want it to fall on the town staff if it's overflowing.
I don't want that either.
I'm gonna see if the public wants to speak to it, and then I'll call it to a vote. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you
Anybody
for your
from the
time.
public want to speak on the Goodwill bin? I have no problem. I trust that you seem like you're gonna pick it up or be on top of it. So a pilot program means to me, if it's not working in 3 months, we're gonna call you up and say, move it out.
Can we waive the 4 cents?
Well,
Why are we gonna take 4 cents?
I don't think we're gonna have a vote to pass tonight, so I'm gonna call, all those in favor of the Goodwill bin, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed,
No.
No.
You guys gonna vote against Goodwill in an election
so
year?
the motion fails.
That's not true, Patrick.
Good God.
Let's be very
What are we, heathens?
careful with your words.
Are we
Very careful with
heathens?
your
All right, all
words.
right. Sorry, thanks, Kevin. Moving on.